I'd like to introduce you to our own favorite specialist, Dr. John Jacob. Dr. Jacob is an environmental quality specialist from Texas Sea Grant, but for people who really know and love him and really get really close up personal, they call him the dirt doctor because he specializes as a soil conservationist.
You
Dr.
got it.
Jacob?
Well, thank you very much, Suze. Only my personal friends call me that. Well, thanks very much. It really is a beautiful day out here on the bayou, and I'm joined by three really good students from the Seabrook Intermediate Magnet School. We've got Steve, we've got Eric, and we've got Jane. And they're all right here from this very neighborhood. They know the Armand Bayou, and they know all the neighborhood pretty well. In fact, you kids know your way around this neighborhood pretty good, isn't that right? You can get yourself around here pretty good. You can find your way to your house. Are there more than one way for you to get to your house from this neighborhood? Is that right?
Yes.
There is more than one way, isn't there? Several ways. Have you ever thought, or would it even be possible, for you to get to your house by just going right here along the Armand Bayou itself? Could you follow the bayou and get to your house, Jane?
No way.
No way. What about you, Eric? Could you find your way there?
No way.
No way. You couldn't do that. You couldn't find your way. Well, that's interesting because you say you know your neighborhood so well. What if I told you that water from your house came all the way from your house right down into this bayou? What would you think about that?
Whoa.
That is pretty incredible, isn't it? Water from your house got right down here. It's part of your neighborhood, right? There's a way that water actually gets right from your neighborhood into the house. And Eric, I think you've got the picture to show us here. Isn't that right? I think everybody has one of these in their neighborhood. What is this, Jane?
It's a storm drain.
That is a storm drain. Everybody has one of those in front of their house. Water goes through there, and we kind of forget what happens to that water when it goes through there. You've probably seen water going through there, haven't you, Steve?
Yes.
You have seen water going down there through in a storm, okay? So water does go through there. We kind of forget where it goes, but when it goes down through there, it goes through, what do we call that system it goes down through there, Steve?
The sewer.
It's a storm sewer. Is there a treatment plant on the other side of that storm sewer there, Eric?
No.
No, there's not. It just comes straight out here, doesn't it? That's absolutely right. Now, just like you all live in this neighborhood, your neighborhoods have names. Is that right? Steve, what's your neighborhood's name?
Rustic Oaks.
He lives in Rustic Oaks. How about you, Jane? Your neighborhood have a name?
Yes, sir. Brookwood.
Brookwood. So your neighborhoods have names. Now, I think you know this already, but the water has a neighborhood too, and we have a technical name for that name, for the technical name for the neighborhood of the water. What is that, Eric?
The watershed.
The watershed. Absolutely, a very important concept. All of the water that flows in this neighborhood all flows down to this point, and so we call that a watershed. We can think of a watershed as being a bowl or a basin, and Jane here has a nice little graphic that shows that idea. In fact, basin is another name we use for watershed. So all of the water that hits this neighborhood is like a big bowl, and all the water has one outlet, and in this particular case, it's Armand Bayou. Okay, so that's what a watershed is. We're all connected in here. It's our neighborhood. Okay, now just like you have a neighborhood, and you can think of names of more than just your neighborhood. You live in Brookwood, right, Jane?
Yes.
But what part would you say you live in? What's the next level up?
Clear Lake.
You live in Brookwood, you live in Clear Lake, and we could even say that's within the Houston area. So watersheds are kind of like that too. There's more than one level, and if you'll put that next graphic up there for us, okay, we can think of them, if we think of each one as being a bowl, so we've got Galveston Bay as being the big watershed, and as you heard some of the folks before us just talk about, we've got Clear Creek just downstream from us here. We're in Armand Bayou. So Armand Bayou is a watershed within Clear Creek, and then we have another little tributary just upstream here called Horsepen Bayou. So each one of these are watersheds, each one smaller within the other. Now a challenge that I would make to the students watching here is for you to name your watershed. What's the name of your watershed? Do you know the name of your watershed? I think any one of these kids here could name their address and could say their address. And of course they know that they're within the Armand Bayou watershed. But very few people can say what the name of their address is on the earth. That's your watershed. So I would challenge folks there to to name your watershed. Look on your maps. You can look on USGS maps and others. Name your watershed. It might be the large scale. Most of us here in the South are in the Gulf of Mexico watershed. But try to get down to those smaller watersheds and to name that watershed. All right, well, back to our neighborhood here, back to Armand Bayou. Now, I know one thing that kids your age like to do, and that is when you're walking around your neighborhood, you like to pick stuff up, don't you? That right? What kind of stuff do you like to pick up there, Steve?
Feathers.
Feathers, okay. Eric?
Money.
Well, money, I bet you find a lot of that walling around here, don't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Bones.
Bones. So there's all kinds of stuff that you can be picking up as you're walking around the streets here. Now, water, of course, is flowing in our streets as well. Every time it rains, water flows down our streets. And that water is picking up stuff as well, isn't it? What kind of stuff could water be picking up?
Oil.
Ooh, it could be picking up oil. That wouldn't be too good in this water, would it?
Pesticide.
Pesticides. Do we want pesticides in our water? I don't think so. What else?
Trash.
Trash. So we've got all these kinds of things that could be coming down right into our water because that's what it picks up. So the state of our neighborhood, the nature of our neighborhood and our watershed is going to depend on what this water looks like here, isn't it? The nature of the water here depends on what we do in our neighborhood. So let's see. Steve, I think you've got something here. This is what might end up coming out the other end of the storm drain. So we've got the storm drain, and then we've got this water coming out here. What's the color of this water, Eric? Green. Do we want green water? Do we want a green bayou here? I don't think so. We like green lawns. We don't want a green bayou. So what we do in our neighborhood makes all the difference here in the watershed. So we've got to make sure we keep it clean, keep our cars from leaking oil, keep our fertilizer on the lawns, not off the lawn. A lot of different things we can do. So we hope that all of you will take care of your watershed just like we're trying to do right here.